microphone.
General, good morning.
Good morning.
President claims that the extent of proliferation of illegal drugs now has reached to classify as a national security threat. So do you agree, sir? And if you agree, what then should be the national security strategy to eliminate this threat?
Well, first, you have two components in your question. That the drug problem has become a national security threat. I am inclined to agree with that premise. And let me tell you that in the relations with nations, it has been historically shown that those who would like to destroy other country for their advantage, they use drugs to weaken the fiber of that national society. It happened to China, and this is what they claim. In fact, the rationale for really recovering their old glory is because they do not want the indignities of the past because of drugs to repeat. Okay, having said that, the other one is I agree on the strategy. Is that your question? All right.
What
Yes.
should be the strategy?
Well, look, this drug problem is not unique with the Philippines. This is a problem all over the world. It's a problem in America, and a big problem. Now, some states in America try to rectify the problem by legalizing it, but much of the states of America is not doing that. Now, other countries, sige po. Other countries, they use less violent options by education, by rehabilitation. But there are also those who use violence. Now, by experience, it appears that the result, even with those who applied violence, like in Bangkok just a few years ago when Shinawatra was the prime minister, it did not end. It did not end the drug problem. So you ask me what is the best. I wish I can tell you. Then I'll be president.
But do you agree how the president handles the problem?
Well, again, that's a nice question. Huh? You are putting me on the spot. Well, let me put it this way. This is not, I think, now I am speaking more than my capacity, my competence. But let me say it just the same. This problem, I would suppose, I mean the strategy or the program of the president, I think it's not permanent. Now, we are not sure if this thing, if the drug problem, in his view, is now manageable, he will change the strategy, I suppose. And I think if you agree, he might change it later, sooner than later.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Henry. Pia or Rappler?
Good morning, sir. Sir, you used to be the National Security Advisor. What do you think of President Duterte's recent pronouncements on defense agreements with the U.S.? For example, his desire to end the war games with the U.S. and also to review the EDCA. What do you think of this in light of the West Philippine Sea dispute we have with China?
Well, at the surface, the impact at the surface is negative. But I say at the surface because I don't want to underrate the strategic thinking of the president. Now, I don't want to elaborate on this because I do not want to pretend that I know him better. Let me just give you an example, although it's not a very good one. But it will indicate to you what I'm trying to say. Before the election, or just after the election, she said so many things against his vice president. Am I correct, you recall? Yung magkaaway sila. Tama ba yon? You recall? Vice President Lenny. Hindi pinapansin. Tama? At saka mayroon pang mga salita na medyo mahanghang, hindi ba? All right. But look, later on, Vice President Lenny went to Malacanang. He even kissed her hand. Am I correct? I saw it on the picture. Tama ba yon? So, what does this mean? Oh, you make the conclusion. Okay?
Sir, just to follow up.
You have to think more than more than the surface, you know? Okay.
Sir, earlier you said that the impact on the surface would be negative. What do you
Yeah.
mean by this?
Well, because if you take it as it is, remember our allies like President Obama, the United States, they have their own feelings. The military who conducts this, they are planning. So if you say they will not continue, you know, if you are in the organization like the military, when you conduct an exercise, that is not done just like that in 1 week. That is prepared for months. And they have to simulate. They have to practice by themselves. Why? Because in the military, for exercises, the maximum allowed casualty, if I remember correctly, is 3%, 1%. If they have a casualty more than that in a military exercise, the commander will be court-martialed.
Okay.
So it's not that easy. So you could see that there are negative feelings because of organizational or operational constraints.
Raymond Tenasa to be followed by JP Bencito of Manila Standard. Raymond.
Sir, just to clarify your statement that you believe that U.S. wants us to prosper and to be strong.
Yeah, I never said.
You've said that U.S. actually wants us to progress and to be a strong country.
Of course, yes.
Do you believe so? I mean, please correct my thinking, because is that the actual, considering that they are giving us ships from their junks, refurbished one?
You know, we are live on TV, no? If I say this to the public, I have no permission to express this on TV from people who talk to me. But you read, I have published a book, Endless Journey. You read the epilogue there, and it is there. I narrated this there because it is written, because if there's any objection, at least I have a basis to answer them. But for here, if I will say that, baka naman sasabihin ng US Embassy or what, I'm trying to promote myself, you know. But it is written there. You look at it, it's available in fully book in National Bookstore, Endless Journey. Epilogue is written there. Who, why, and what. Okay?
Sir, I ask this question because I think as far as the statements of the President publicly on where he is coming from against U.S. and why he wants to to break up with U.S. is because we are getting what we should be getting as allies of the U.S.
You are right. And I've experienced that myself before when I was in the government, and I cannot blame the president. But I was also told before, like for instance today, we bought F-50s from FA-50s from South Korea.
Yes, sir.
There are no missile weaponry according to the publication. Well, I do not know the arrangements between the Pinoy government and South Korea. But what I know in the past, all of this technology which comes from America exported to South Korea, when they re-export it to another country, they have to ask permission from the source. This is true for everybody, Israel and others, especially Israel, because they are the ones who are very active on this. Now, the missile system is, they have to ask permission. But I don't know how much it will cost now with the missile system. So maybe we will only buy it when we exactly need it already. If we do not need it now, there is no need to spend. You can spend the money somewhere else. But look, I am not competent to really explain this, but it's just my personal sense. That's why there is no weapon. But you want the weapon, you can buy it anytime. But if you don't need it yet, there is no need. Okay?
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Raymond. JP Bencito.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Sir, would just like to
Send it to us.
Hi, sir. We'd just like to press on the earlier question, sir. You mentioned that the president, the many people are fixated to the colorful speech of the president.
Yes.
Sir, is it good for the president to continue cursing other world leaders, U.S. President Barack Obama, the EU, the UN, sir?
You know, I am here to speak, according to me, to the best of my ability to speak for the people, not for anybody. Okay, that's why I'm here. So, to answer you, I don't want to be misunderstood. Because I might be misunderstood, dito masyadong partisan, no? No. I would say that even the president may not realize that it's not good. So I am hopeful that he will change when the time comes.
Sir, thank you po. Sir, on a personal note, sir, do you explore the possibility of joining the Duterte administration in the future, sir?
Hindi po. No, I'm not. I'm sorry, Mr. Secretary.
Opo.
I'm old already. I could no longer work, you know. I am just here really as an extension, just to be able to still be useful. In fact, I was hesitant to talk to all of you because I don't want to be misunderstood. I am happy this is live.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, JP. Alden of Kyoto. Microphone, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, as a national security expert who has dabbled in the South China Sea issue, if do you think that if the Philippines does go through with breaking ties with the U.S., do you think it could also affect its relationship with other U.S. allies in Asia like Japan, South Korea, and I'm not sure if Thailand is still a U.S. ally, but do you think it might affect that? Do you think they might shun us away?
Okay, I think the answer to that is more complex than just saying this and that, you know. Do we have time? I'll explain it a little bit. You know, in the Asia Pacific, Indo-Asia Pacific today, this situation is really defined by the relationship between China and America. Okay? That is the reality. Now, in the South China Sea, the problem is this. China believes that the South China Sea is an integral part of their dream. Now, what is their dream? Their dream are three, according to Ming Fu in his book, Chinese Dream. The first one is internal design, they call it. Then the regional design and a global design. Since 1978, the reform of Deng Xiaoping, up to today, they feel that they have already attained the internal design. They are rich and powerful. Now they are on a regional design, and among them is about the South China Sea and the others. Hindi lang South China Sea. Then after this, they will go to a third one, the the global design. Okay, let me explain this. The South China Sea is not merely a source of minerals or whatever. In terms of their global ambition, it functions like the Sea of Okhotsk. The Sea of Okhotsk is north of this Japan Sea, between Kamchatka and I think the Kurils in the north. This was the nuclear submarine pen of the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Now, the South China Sea, according to experts, is being viewed like that. In fact, the islands now that have been converted, the rocks converted into islands, and some of them now have vessels that can berth or sustain these vessels, are among them these things I'm telling you. So we could say that the South China Sea is an integral part of the Chinese thinking. Now, the problem for the U.S. is this, and I give this to you. If China will control the South China Sea by merely using water, sand, and patience, this will have an irrevocable, irreparable, immense implication to the security of the United States, especially in terms of its global leadership position. So in that sense, it will be very difficult for America to allow this to happen. Correct? Now, I'll go to your question. If this happens, you know, in the Asia Pacific, the Philippines is part of the so-called forced island chain. Okay? Now, if it so happens that in the future, China controls the South China Sea, now there will be a serious re-examination of the partnership alliances in this part of the world. Now, how about the Philippines? The Philippines is, as you know, and as they say, is the weakest in the chain. Now, your question is, what happens if we quarrel with America and then etc.? Well, you have now to imagine the consequences in terms of the context I told you.
Okay. Sir, given your statement, sir, saying that the nations in Asia is defined by their affiliations either with the US or China, how do you think it would be possible for the Philippines to remain neutral? Because the logical conclusion to that, sir, is it's either we are with China or either we are with the US.
Correction. Excuse me. I did not say that. What I said is the situation in the Indo-Asia Pacific is defined by the relationship between America and China.
Okay, sir.
Now, what is their relationship? They do not want to go to war with each other. They know that. It is counterproductive for them. So what are they doing? If it is possible to cooperate, they cooperate. If it is necessary, they compete. If the competition becomes so serious, they relax and then review the situation, look for points of consensus, and return the equilibrium to the old one. This is their strategy. Okay? This is what is happening today. And this is the thinking of both. By the way, China says, when Xi Jinping, not Xi Jinping, Junta visited America in January several years ago. He said, it's very difficult for America and China to go to war. We have 95 points of institutional contacts. And this is being reviewed every year by the strategic economic dialogue that is being held alternately in Washington and in Beijing, participated in by the highest officials. The result is reviewed by the President of China and America. So they are so confident that these things will not happen. That is in that sense. Now, ang sabi mo ano yun? Pilipinas, America, one?
My question, sir, is can the Philippines remain neutral, sir, in its relationship with either China or the US?
Ito ang sinasabi ko in the beginning. We maintain our relationship with America. But at the same time, let us befriend all the others, including China. Now, you call that neutrality? I don't know. Maybe you could call it active neutrality. Is that good enough? Huh?
Okay, sir. Because
No, you must be convinced because you are going to write.
okay, sir, because you told us, sir, that there's conflicting interests between the US and China in the South China Sea. So if we side with one, if we side with, okay, go ahead, sir.
You know, this is not black and white. As I told you, they are enemies, but they don't want to go to war. Okay? So they cooperate when there is reason for cooperation. They compete when there is, it's impossible to cooperate. This is the relationship between, this relationship, the friendship here is different between you and your girlfriend. I'm sorry. This is a very practical and utilitarian friendship, if I give it to you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Alden.
You can write it well.
Thank you, Alden. Henry Uri, DCRH.
Sir, if I may ask you this question. A while ago, you have mentioned that our country's problem are internal war, broken politics, and monopolized business. Our president is already on his way on making our countries into another 100 days. But the first 100 days, how would you rate his performance?
Well, if I look at it in terms of these three fundamental problems of the Philippines, and let me repeat, if we cannot solve these three problems, our nation, put it another way, we can never build the Filipino nation the way we want it to be. So these three must be solved, and President Duterte is confronting it. And that's why I'm here talking to you, because I think that is best for the nation. Now, if it is best for him as president, excuse me, it's really incidental. Because I believe, personally, because this is what I have done during the Ramos administration. And I've written it afterwards because we were not able to finish it. It's the unfinished revolution, according to Square, although I did not say it that way. Now, you are asking me, well, how do you rate him? I say this, based on what has been done for the next 100 days, exceptional. Exceptional. And look, he has, and I mean, in ordinary things, what he did is not really conventional. He assigned the cabinet positions to known leftists, correct? He has now arranged an indefinite ceasefire with the left. Is that correct? And he is now negotiating the social economic component of the peace process that they are hammering out, correct? And this is very important. Now he's talking to the MNLF and the MILF, using his personal influence to do that. Now this is key to our development as a nation. Otherwise, we cannot correct our corruption or inequality or poverty, everything, including the corruption of the judiciary. But if we can solve these three, all of this will follow. Believe me, I hope the nation is listening.
Thank you, Henry.
Pwede yung isa pa. This is a
Yes.
Viber question from our colleague Deo de Guzman of DZXL. He said, is it prudent for President Duterte about bad-mouthing USA in terms of security? He even said that CIA is trying to kill him. What is your, I think he's asking for your opinion on that.
Well, I hope your friend will understand. I cannot comment on speculation, you know. Please, if privately we will discuss. Let him see me.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. More questions? Benji? Benji Liwanag of DCBB.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, guys.
Sir, can you react dun sa mga statement ni Presidente lately with the soldiers, paghandaan natin ang terrorism? As a former National Security Advisor, what's your assessment on this, sir?
Well, you know, it's not only President Duterte who thinks that way. All leaders I know in the world, especially in the developed world or in the free world so-called, feels that way. Because the fear today is the convergence of mass destruction weapons with the terrorists. That's the fear. All right. You know, insofar as terrorism is concerned, there is a complex background of that, why there is terrorism in the world today. And you will understand why in France there is so much terrorist action. You will understand why the 9/11 happened in the United States. Now, the historical antecedents that converge to create the situation so that young people are motivated to engage in asymmetric actions at their expense is because of this kind of situation that developed. Now, I think the Pope and the others understand this, and they are doing something about it, if I may say so, to their credit by their statements. But this problem, which has accumulated for centuries, cannot be solved in 1 century, if I may say so. This will take time, and this is part of the development process, I think, of mankind, so that later on we become we elevate our qualitatively human condition to a better, higher way, you know. As of now, we sometimes our lesser angels dominate us. So
If we're going to compare the terrorism before when you were the National Security Advisor and the terrorism right now, sir, how would you assess it?
you know, that's a very good question because I was National Security Advisor, you know. During that period, si SKJ, the Sheikh Mohammed Khalid Muhammad,
Khalid, yeah.
the one who claimed he planned the 9/11. He was here in the Philippines for a few years. And he was our subject of investigation, you know. If you recall what happened in the explosion in Malati, where General Rason recovered these CDs about the plan of these terrorists to bomb White House, CIA, and the Pentagon.
Task Force Bujinka.
Oplan
Bujinka. Yes, sir.
There's a book published in England. That's ours. That's here. You will note that the preparation of this was during our time. And it happened after us already. So the impression that it is worse today than before is there. But if you ask me, it has always been there. Although the actions now are worse than before.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Benji. Questions? Done? Okay. Ian Cruz of GMA7.
Secretary Almonte,
Yes.
you mentioned po kanina no, na exceptional yung mga nagawa ni Presidente sa kanyang 100 days. But you mentioned din
Exceptional sa three.
sa three, oo.
Yeah. Please make that clear.
Apo, sa three problems, major
Three
problems.
fundamental problems that I feel this nation has to confront, has to resolve in order to become a real nation state.
Apo. Pero nababanggit niyo po na may distraction ano dahil dun sa colorful language ni Presidente
Tama po.
and extrajudicial killings.
Tama po.
Paano po natin ma-address ito? Nakausap niyo po ba ang Pangulo tungkol dun sa dalawang distraction
Hindi po.
ito?
By the way, I hope the President does not take it against me. I have not met him. So I don't know him personally. But I am saying this because what I read in the papers as what he wants to do is this. And by coincidence, I believe that this is what is best for the nation. As the Secretary said, I have said it before. And by the way, I kept that secret because I don't want to dilute the President's thinking, you know. I don't want people to interpret that I have anything to do with thinking. There is none. It just so happened that what he's doing is what I thought before. And that is why I am here to talk to you. I was asked, and the reason is I believe that he's doing the right thing on this.
Sir, you also mentioned that you're hopeful that he will change. What kind of change po ang...
Yeah, I'm
What kind of
hopeful.
change?
Yes. Well, if he can make his colorful statement colorless, that's a big change for me. Ano pang problema ni Presidente? Yun lang naman siguro eh. Ano pa? Meron pa ba iba?
Ian? Okay na?
Okay.
Thank you, MPC. More questions? No more? Okay.
Sigurado kayo?
Thank you, Secretary Almonte.
Okay.
Thank you, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella.
Sige. Okay.
Yes. Secretary Abella,
May tanong kayo, sir.
may statement muna. Secretary Abella, you have a statement?
Yung mga tanong kahapon, I'll still need to get back to that, maybe by tomorrow. Okay. All right. We just like to stress a few points for this morning. I'd just like to first say thank you to Secretary Almonte. Secretary Almonte. Joe Almonte. And you know, you can just appreciate the way he's able to go through very complex issues in a very with a very fine comb, and able to distinguish certain issues in a very, how do you put it, in a very significant manner. And we also like to, personally, one of the reasons why we asked people to come in here was be able to see clearly, objectively, the results of the first 100 days. And it was, it was quite a thing to hear him say that the first 100 days, according to the 3 points, was exceptional. Taking off on that, like to point out that for today, the latest President Duterte ended his first 3 months in office with a net satisfaction rating, the first for the current chief executive, that bested those of most of his post-EDSA revolution predecessors, except for Fidel V. Ramos, according to a social weather station survey. As you very well know, it says that the balance of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao found 76% satisfied, 11% dissatisfied, and 13% undecided regarding Mr. Duterte's performance in his first quarter of his presidency. So we just like to say that the president seems to be off on a very good start. Piggybacking on that is the World Bank report that the Philippines is expected to accelerate by another to accelerate to 6.4%. According to the newly released East Asian Pacific Economic Update, among other large economies, prospects are strongest in the Philippines, where growth is expected to accelerate to 6.4% this year. Also, another point of interest is that the BOI, the Board of Investments, on Tuesday, October 4th, said that investment commitments approved in September this year soared 200% to 51 billion from 17 billion a year earlier, reflecting strong investor confidence in the Philippines and indicating that growth is sustained and accelerated. For the first 9 months, approved investments grew by 50% to 286 billion, the BOI said. Investments are coming in are in sectors that will elevate our competitiveness, such as power and infrastructure, Seferino Rodolfo, Trade Secretary and BOI Managing Head, said. Okay. The investment pledges were generated from 192 projects with a total estimated job generation of 37,487 expected at full operations. Rodolfo also noted that imports have also increased, basically driven, of course, by the coming Christmas season. The tax reforms in the conference, the tax and other economic reforms are also expected to spur capital market activity. In a conference organized by the international law firm Latham and Watkins, government officials and business executives cited the 10-point socioeconomic agenda outlined by the administration in consultation with the private sector. And they said that the planned reforms will allow capital markets to play a bigger role in financing companies that invest in projects supporting economic expansion. In other words, there's a thrust not just towards hot money, but actual foreign direct investments. We'd like to confine the questions here, if there are any.
Questions, Maricel Halili, TV5.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Sir,
Morning.
where can we attribute the very good net satisfaction rating of the president?
It was based on apparently the perception of the people that he was doing his job. Okay.
But what particular message does this survey convey to the critics of the president?
That the people trust what he's doing. Okay.
And that there's no basis on
For?
the critics?
That's not saying that. It's simply saying that the people, in spite of the noise, are continuing to trust the president.
Sir, can I just have a confirmation with regards to the appointment of the ambassador to China and
Yes,
Malaysia?
that's already confirmed. Chito Santa Romana.
How about Charles Jose, sir?
I don't have word on that yet.
Are there any other new appointees?
None so far that I know. But Chito Santa Romana was confirmed. I got the confirmation last night.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Question, Hannah, Sunshine TV. Hannah Sancho.
Sir, reaction po sa sinabi ni Defense Secretary Lorenzana na misinform lang daw po ang Pangulong Duterte.
I think he corrected that.
Okay.
He corrected that. It was their mistake. No, he was saying that perhaps they were remiss. Okay, so he corrected that statement.
So, clarification, sir. Hindi po wrong ang information na
No.
nakukuha ng Pangulo.
Ang sinasabi na baka sila ang nagkulang. Okay.
So, there's still a possibility na magbago po ang isip ng Pangulo regarding sa joint military exercise kapag nagkaroon po ng mas magandang assessment ang DND.
Ang sinasabi lang po niya is kulang sila, mukhang sila nagkulang, and they're still awaiting for actual actual decisions coming from the president.
Sir, saan po nakuha ng Pangulo yung basis niya na walang pakinabang po yung joint military, hindi na pakinabangan ng mga Filipino soldiers yung joint military exercise despite na ilang beses naman tayo nagkakaroon ng war games with the US forces?
Part of it siguro na, for example, katulad ng sinasabi nila na ang talaga namang at sa pagkakaintindi ko na ang talagang nagkakaroon ng benepisyo yung mga sundalo ng Estados Unidos dahilan sa sila yung natututo. Hindi naman sinasabing wala tayong nakakuha, mayroon din naman tayong natututunan, pero sinasabi parang mas nagiging sa kanila, mas nagiging pakinabang para sa kanila kaysa sa atin.
Sir, na-mention na ng Pangulo yung nire-review ng legal team natin yung EDCA.
Okay.
At parang ang dating lang naman parang papunta na yung Pangulo doon na gusto niyang, kinoconsider niya na baka i-scrap ang EDCA. In the previous administration, yung VFA po, I think ni-review nila. Tapos hanggang natapos na lang yung termino ni Aquino. Wala na po nangyari kung ano nangyari doon sa pag-review nila. Sa Duterte administration ba, i-review na rin po ba natin yung VFA? At ano yung position natin sa VFA po?
Talagang pinag-aaralan po lahat ng ating mga treaties. Yun na po masasabi natin at this stage. Any other question? Yeah,
Raymond Tinasa?
Sir, just your reaction to the new US State Department statement. Una, mahaba raw po yung kanilang pasensya. Pangalawa, they believe that the bilateral relationship of the Philippines and US remains strong. At tanongin nyo pa daw, yung mga bawat Pilipino would say that. Also, ayaw daw nila makipaghiwalay kahit gusto na makipag-break ang Pangulo.
Katulad po siguro ng pagkakasabi kanina ni Secretary Almonte, ang ginagawa naman natin ay hindi pakikipagputol, kundi nilalawakan lang natin yung ating options for relationship.
Siguro pag sa relasyon, makipag-cool off. So, paano natin
Hindi po,
ma-attain?
nilalagyan mo ng salita ang aking bibig, okay?
No. It's from me. So
Okay,
siguro, baka natin tawagin, pag sa relasyon, cool off kasi hindi naman total breakup. So, ayaw ng US, how could we actually apply what the president want to?
Ang alin po?
Kung ayaw...
Hindi naman po siguro cool off, kundi open relationship. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Raymond.
So,
Thank you.
huling tanong po, yung dalawa na lang. Kita
Sige,
dalawa.
Ian, to be followed by JP.
JP.
Microphone there. Ian.
Secretary, Yusek, nandun po ba kagabi sa Senate anniversary, sa Old Senate si Presidente?
Hindi ko po alam yun.
May reaction po ba kayo? Opo, kasi napabalita po kasi na pumunta siya doon sa...
I'm sorry, I don't have information with that. I was at another event.
Opo, kahapon naman po nagsalita si Senator De Lima doon sa isang forum at nabanggit niya ang Pangulo doon. Ano po ang reaction ninyo doon?
Again, siguro what we can say is she is entitled to her own opinion. Okay. Thank you.
JP? Sir, may last daw si Benji Liwanag.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Sir, would it, pressing on the statements of Secretary Almonte, sir, would it be helpful for the President to lessen his curses against other world leaders, sir, because of the colorful language that he has been making in this past few days?
As we said, we need to look beyond the style and into the substance of the President. So from where we stand, we allow it is the President's call to moderate or to modify whatever he wants to do. Okay, thank you.
Sir, can you give us information dun sa meeting with the yung president with the DOTR, Secretary Tugade yesterday?
I don't have input regarding the matter. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, how about what happened to the meeting with between the president and the American groups, yung Philam Life and yung American...
Yesterday yan, sir.
Hindi.
Yesterday.
Yung kahapon.
The insurance companies?
Yes po, the American insurance
No,
company.
I think that was a close-in meeting. Okay.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Malacanang Press Corps. Thank you, Secretary Joe Almonte. Thank you, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Yes.
Opo. Meron pong si President Almonte, President Almonte.
Yes, sir.
Binibigay na ba? Binibigay yung there are giveaways. Giveaways, loot bags.
More backgrounds.
Okay.
Information.
Basically, ito yung yung basis ng basic na Okay.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you, Secretary Joe Almonte. Thank you, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Thank you, Malacanang Press Corps. Back to our main studio sa Radyo ng Bayan and PTV Channel 4.
All right.
Doon mismo yung... The Bilibid prison is under the control and supervision of Bucher and DOJ. So, siguro doon po tayo magtatapos dito kay Witness Arile. Okay, sige po. Point of information coming from Congressman Acop.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. According to our resource person this morning, what he divulged is confidential. Now, the confidentiality of documents or testimonies presented to Congress is governed by a memorandum circular from the Office of the President. Memorandum circular number 8, dated 1964, from the Office of the President. And before classified matters can be divulged in congressional hearings, it has to be cleared by the department head. So I think we should advise all these people, if they are really government or action agents, then this should be undertaken, Mr. Chair.
Kanya nga po, mukhang clear naman po nila, pero for the record, para lang po malinaw, are you clearing this, declassifying this information shared by this witness to the committee?
Mr. Chairman, may I share a comment? Your Honor, yung pong binasa, of course, there's nothing confidential about the affidavit. Now, dun sa annex, nasulat niya kay Presidente, there's nothing confidential about a person writing to the President. Hindi naman ito nanggaling sa anumang government agency. As a matter of fact, I conferred with General Bato de la Rosa, and he told me that since it is a simple letter, and not simple, it's a letter from a person, from a constituent, from a citizen of the Philippines to the highest official of the land, to the President, I think there's nothing confidential about it. And so I believe that it should be accepted by the committee, and that also, in order that the picture will be complete, and so that the other members of the committee who wanted to ask question about the issuance of this letter, about the Oplan Kronos, then I believe that to complete the presentation, we have to present Colonel Valeroso, the handler or the intel officer of the witness.
Maraming salamat po. At least kami pong mga miyembro ay nabawasan po kami ng palaisipin kung ano ang mga potential potential repercussions po nitong testimony ng ating witness. No? Before we proceed, I just want to recognize or acknowledge the presence of Congressman Celso Lobregat and Manuel Dalipe. So, sige, Ron, Congressman Saro.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. First, just for the record, kiniklaim po kasi nung nag-testify kanina that he is a government asset. Nonetheless, we just take it and put it in record that it is the Secretary of Justice himself who is assuring this committee that this particular piece of document is already considered not classified in the first place because it has come from this particular inmate. So just for the record, Your Honor.
Salamat. Siguro po, tapos na po tayo dun sa witness, Arile. Samahan na hot na maibalik sa holding area and to pave the way for the next witness who is General General Valeroso?
Police Superintendent,
Police Superintendent
Jerry Crisostomo Valeroso.
So, may I just ask, no, kasi yung witnesses natin, sinong kasunod? Valeroso. And then,
Marcelino.
Marcelino. Ito si General Valeroso, kahit walang immunity, yung Marcelino kanyo.
Kahit wala din pong immunity, he is willing to testify.
Okay. Yung just to give a heads up to General Bucayo and General Villasanta. We need your written statements and or si General Villasanta. Now, gusto ko lang po i-clarify, no? This is not, this hearing is, or inquiry is in pursuit of House Resolution 105. At this point in time, marami na po tayong na-establish and save for a few more witnesses. Sa tingin marahil ay marami na po tayong magagawang batas because this hearing is all about this inquiry is in aid of legislation. No? So, hindi po tayo nagtatapos dito sa hearing na ito kung mag-terminate man po natin ito because we have subcommittees that will pursue reforms on 4 of the 5 pillars of the criminal justice system. Magpapatuloy po ang mga hearing kung saan alamin po natin yung mga reforma na kailangan po natin that will require legislation. So, maaari po tayong magtapos dito pero magpapatuloy pa rin nga po tayo. So, don't you worry that we may not cover all of the witnesses that DOJ and or other members of the House would want to be covered because guided by the desire of the Speaker to terminate this in a meeting or two, tuwing pagkatapos po ng hearing namin, kami pong yung mga vice chairman namin, kami po ay nagpo-postmortem para malaman po kung kailangan pa naming dagdagan pa yung mga witnesses para ma-establish yung facts. No? So, please be assured that other committees like the Committee of General Acop, Public Order and Security, the Committee of Chairman Ace Barbers, which is the Dangerous Drugs Committee, magpapatuloy pa rin po ang mga ganitong pagdinig And of course, dun po sa mga subcommittees namin that will all deal with the 4 of the 5 pillars of the criminal justice system, to the point that we need to do and initiate and enact laws to reform this yung enforcement and investigation. 1. 2, prosecutorial reforms needed. 3, judicial reforms needed. And finally, correctional reforms needed. They will continue to conduct inquiry. So wag pong mawawala ng loob yung mga tao na hindi matatawag dito dahil magkakaroon po sila ng pagkakataon na marinig po yung kanilang gustong isalaysay in this other fora that will be conducted under the auspices of the different committees under the House of Representatives. So para lang po malinaw, para po kung sakali pong magtapos tayo, segun dun sa kagustuhan po ng House leadership na tapusin ito in the soonest time possible, then we will try to do that. So anyway, I understand the next witness, Valeroso, Chief Superintendent ba? Senior Superintendent Valeroso is here. So may I now recognize again Secretary Aguirre.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before that, may I just give some guidance to the committee, because it was me, as chairman of the Committee on Rules, that decided that this hearing be limited to the jurisdiction only of the Committee on Justice. Initially, this was supposed to be handled by 3 committees. The Committee on Dangerous Drugs, headed by Representative Barbers, and the Committee on Public Order and Security, headed by Representative Acop. But I thought, and I decided, that it would become unwieldy if we have 3 chairs with 3 memberships presiding over this matter. So please be guided that the jurisdiction of this committee is limited only to the national believed prisons. And if any, I read, for example, one of the affidavits here, it's not wholly about the believed prisons, but the problem of dangerous drugs in particular. So that should be referred to the Committee on Dangerous Drugs. So please be guided by that instruction, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Maraming salamat, Majority Floor Leader. At least na-relieve po kami, at saka siguro it's about time that the other committees also do their perform their mandate. Para medyo makapag-relax naman po tayo. Anyways, so Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
may we ask?
before we proceed, having the statement of the majority leader in mind, and similarly having the instruction of the Speaker in mind to terminate this inquiry in aid of legislation as much as possible in in 1 or 2 hearings, for our guidance, when more or less will this be terminated? After 1 more hearing or 2 more hearings?
Siguro pagkatapos ito, ang tingin ko mga isa na lang. Kasi depende po sa mamayang post-mortem namin ng mga vice chair namin kung ano pa ang dapat patunayan o establish na hindi pa po napapatunayan. So I think the next hearing on Monday, where we will get Sebastian and C, plus a few more others, may already guide the committee in coming up with a report, a committee report for approval of the Justice Committee and then presentation to plenary.
I ask Mr. Chairman because in the past few days, there were so many members of the House, a mix of members of the House and members of the Justice Committee, were asking me whether the witnesses previously called will again be presented for purposes of closure of the ongoing congressional inquiry. Based on that premise, Mr. Chairman, may I now ask on whether or not there will still be an opportunity that all those witnesses called before and after this hearing be presented for the last time for the benefit of those members who reserved their questions and for purposes of closing this proceeding.
Yes, Deputy Speaker, we will evaluate that. As I said, we do a post-mortem always after every hearing. If I may suggest, please tell whoever those members who are consulting you to come to me, and I will directly respond to their queries. I hope that satisfies your the response required of your query, so that we can proceed.
It does not really satisfy, Mr. Chairman.
We will discuss that later after 1, 2, 3, 4 more witnesses are called in, so that we can take advantage of the testimonies of these witnesses. I guess who more or less more of the members and even the viewers, the viewing public are more interested to hear. So, if I may just continue, Secretary Aguirre, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. May we ask for the administration of the oath on Police Superintendent Valeroso?
Before that, Secretary, may I know the purpose for which this witness is going to be presented?
Major Valeroso is presented for the following purposes. 1, to prove that Police Superintendent Jerry Crisostomo Valeroso was assigned formerly to the CIDG. 2, to prove that sometime in January 2014, he personally recruited Nonilo Arile as a confidential informant. Nonilo Arile being a former police officer assigned at the WPD. His intelligence gathering skills and background in the investigation was considered in tapping him as an confidential informant. 3, to prove that there are still big-time drug lords operating inside the NBP. To prove that drug trade inside NBP is still alive.
The what?
Still ongoing. Drug trade was just transferred to the medium security, meaning to say that when the SAF guarded the Building 14 and maximum security prison, pumunta lamang po sila dun sa medium security to prove, well, the extravagant lifestyle of the high-profile drug lords.
So before we proceed, the chair is just wondering whether this matter still would require the presentation of this particular witness, since this is corroborative. Does he have personal knowledge of whatever he will testify on, except that he took in this witness Arile? Kasi if we can just
Mr. Chairman,
perhaps pwede na tayong i-ano yun, ano? We can ask General Magalong na ginawa niya yun. Then we can just stipulate on this para we can spare this committee. Kung ang testimonya niya ay para dun lang sa pagpapatuo-tuo na siya ang nag-recruit, eh palagay ko nasagot na natin yan. Kung wala naman siyang personal knowledge, except that he is basing all of these things that he will say on what Arile had already testified on, meaning hearsay pa rin yan, then we can probably just stipulate on that particular point.
Mr. Chairman, ito pong si Colonel Valeroso, meron po isang personal knowledge, nag-conduct siya ng buy-bust operation dyan sa loob ng NBP.
Okay, so on
And
that-
besides, it's only 2-page.
On that basis, sige, we can
Mr.
proceed.
Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Congressman Sandoval.
Yeah, just for clarification. Ito po kasing New Bilibid Prison under the DOJ, no? Pero I just want to be clarified kung bakit may intelligence ang police, may intelligence ang NBI, may intelligence ang Bucor. Pagkatapos dito po sa mga raid na ito, meron pang pati mga Armed Forces Intelligence Service, meron din silang sariling operation. But just for clarification lang po, sino ba talaga
Siguro,
ang intelligence
we will handle that at the proper time during the period of interpellation. So, mas importante kasi mapakinggan na natin yung mga witnesses. So, pasensya na kung Sandoval na. But please proceed, Secretary Aguirre.
Is Colonel Valeroso inside already? Will you
Yes,
please
sir.
stand up, Colonel?
Please raise your right hand. I, please state your name,
Senior Superintendent
do
Jerry
solemnly
Valeroso.
swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will tell the truth,
that I will tell the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Colonel Valeroso, we would like to remind you that you will be testifying under oath and that you are not being offered any immunity in connection with the hearing of this committee. Do you accept that? Are you willing to be examined to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you execute an affidavit?
Yes, Your Honor.
Consisting of 2 pages dated October 5, 2016?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please go over the affidavit to be shown to you and tell this honorable committee whether this is the affidavit that you are referring to.
Nasaan? May, yun pala.
Pwede pa check kung yan yan.
Ito ba yung dokumento?
Yung content.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Sir, pwede pa pasahin po. Kayo po yung lawyer. Pasign din po. Doon sa tabi ng signature niyo po. Yan. Kayo po ba yan? Ay, sorry po. Sino po? Nasaan po yung
Ano po ang sagot?
This is my affidavit, Your Honor.
Okay, before that, Colonel Valeroso, are you assisted by counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
For the record, may I request the counsel to please rise and for identification purposes, state your name.
Yes, Your Honor, good afternoon. I'm Attorney Mario Dionisio Jr. from the Public Attorney's Office, assisting Police Senior Superintendent Valeroso.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Colonel Valeroso, sinusumpa mo ba na totoong lahat ang nasasayad sa inyong affidavit at ikaw ay hindi binayaran, pinangakuan ng kung ano, sinaktan o tinorture sa pag-execute mo ng affidavit na ito?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, voluntary mong ang paggawa ng affidavit na ito?
Yes, Your Honor.
May we request, Your Honor, please, that this affidavit identified by the witness be marked as Exhibit V, V as in victory. The signature of the witness appearing on the first page as V2. The second page of the document, the affidavit as V-1, and the signature of the witness, resource person, be marked as Exhibit V-1-A. Likewise, may we request that the signature of the oath administering officer be marked as Exhibit V-1-B. The witness is ready to read this affidavit, Mr. Chairman.
Okay na? Okay, Mr. Colonel Valeroso, will you please read into the records the contents of your affidavit?
Yes, Your Honor. I, Police Senior Superintendent Jerry Crisostomo Valeroso, of legal age, Filipino, married, and resident of Caloocan City, after having been duly sworn to accordance with law, do hereby depose and state that I am a member of the Philippine National Police with the rank of Senior Superintendent. I was formerly assigned with the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group in the Philippine National Headquarters, Camp Crame, Quezon City. On October 1, 2016, I was informed that Nonilo A. Arile, an inmate of the new Bilibid prison in Muntinlupa City, has executed an affidavit with the assistance of counsels from the Public Attorney's Office. The said affidavit really stated that he was my asset, whose responsibility was to submit information to me and time to time regarding drug transaction inside the National Penitentiary. Aforementioned statement is true. Sometimes in January 2014, I personally recruited Arile as a confidential informant. He was already my friend, neighbors, and brothers in religion, even before he was incarcerated. I believe as a former police officer assigned at the Western Police District Detective Bureau, his intelligence gathering skills and backgrounds in investigations and reporting would be essential to the anti-criminality drive of the CIDG. True enough, the information he relayed to us provided a clear understanding of the personalities and systems in the place with regard to the illegal drugs trade inside the NBP. As a religious leader, Arile has open access to all areas and all groups inside the NBP. He is able to mingle and speak to anyone without the slightest suspicious. And this is how he was able to obtain the information he relayed to me. I personally evaluated all information provided to me by Arile and forwarded the same to the CIDG for consolidations. In 2014, I also conducted surveillance operation inside the NBP maximum security compound through the assistance of Arile. Through Arile efforts, cope up with the rigorous verification process on our end, we were able to mount a significant anti-narcotic operation inside the NBP itself, the most recent of which was the successful bypass operations conducted inside the medium security compound on August 25, 2016. The operation yielded 25 grams of shabu and led to the filing of criminal complaints against 5 inmates. Through my own intelligence build-up, I personally witnessed the extravagant lifestyle of inmates inside the NBP maximum security compound. I noticed inmates with pistol braceletly tucked in their waistband. Gambling was open and...
Ako po si Cathy San Gabriel. Subscribe na sa PTV YouTube channel. I-click lang po ang subscribe button.